Welcome back, I'm Ryan from Blue Gaming, and this is my review of Mafia 3. Now, it's been a little bit since this game's come out, but I wanted to make sure to go through everything, and I have gone through quite literally almost everything in the game. The only thing I have left to do in it is collect the rest of the collectibles, which I already have over 50% of. So I think that now is the time to talk about it, so let's just get right into it. And let's start off by going through, you don't really have to play Mafia 2 to understand this game, so even though Mafia 2 came out 6 years ago, you don't really have to go back and play it. It's just some of the characters and the ending won't make, you'll get it, but you won't get the references. And there's one major character, Vito, in the game, is the main character of Mafia 2, so you kind of need to know that. But besides that, the rest of it is kind of just references that you may or may not get. And the final cutscene might seem a little off to you if you haven't played Mafia 2. But besides that, I'm just going to start out by saying some things that they kind of took 2 steps forward and then 1 step back, or actually a better representation would be 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Starting out, the driving in this game is just off. It's not bad, it's not amazing, it's just off. I did it perfectly fine, and there's no real trouble with the driving. It's just something feels kind of weird with it. The emergency brake really kind of doesn't work. It just locks up your entire car and you can't do anything. Taking corners is pretty terrible. You can't really take corners with any degree of accuracy. Speeding, if you're going in a straight line, that's fine, but once you start to take corners, well, then you go back into those problems. It's just off, and it was, from what I remember, it was done better in Mafia 2, but it works here. Next, the next thing that I remember, and this was the biggest thing that I remember, is the cops in this game. While they're supposed to be a lot more kind of against you, they don't really, they're more lenient in this game actually, and that's extremely weird. I didn't think that they would be even more lenient in this game when they're supposed to be even harsher on you. The most obvious thing is that just driving around, I've only been, I had the cops called on me twice, and both those times was because I hit another car in front of police. I remember in Mafia 2 how if there was police near you, if you were on the wrong side of the road, if you ran a red light, if you were speeding, any of that stuff could get you pulled over by the cops. But in this game, as long as you don't hit another car or a person or some piece of actual like lamppost or something on the sidewalk, the cops just don't care, and that's a definite downgrade, especially when they're trying to show how bad it was for the minorities during this time. It's really, I wish that they would use the Mafia 2's police system instead of this new one that they have. The next thing that they kind of improved but also went back a little bit on is vehicles in Mafia 2 were a lot more, you could customize them, you could keep them in a garage, and there was a wide variety of vehicles to actually choose from. In Mafia 3, you get to call in vehicles, so they get to be delivered whenever and wherever, which is a plus. It's a new thing that's great, and I'll talk about the calling in help here in a second. But you can no longer customize vehicles, and you only have access to 9 instead of the, like, I think it was 15 to 25, somewhere in there, different vehicles that you could well, different vehicle slots that you could keep, and there's no customizing any of these vehicles. There's upgrading on 2 of them, actually 3, where you can add like bulletproof tires and upgrade engine and better brakes and exhaust and different things. Those are not really all that great of upgrades. You get them just by playing through the game. You don't actually get to customize the car or anything. But yeah, you only get access to 9 different cars. And the problem is you're only going to be using maybe 1 or 2 of them. I've really only found myself using 3. And those are... They each have their own situations. The ones that I used were the muscle car because it was really fast. The armored truck because if I was going in somewhere where I knew I was going to get shot at immediately. And then the off-road truck because it has good off-road handling and doesn't spin out all the time. So, yeah, those are the only 3 vehicles, which is only a third of the vehicles given to you. So, yeah, I wish that you could get your own vehicles and just get to take them off the street. And I wish that you could customize them like you could in Mafia 2. Going on, I said that I would talk about the things that you can call in. There's 3 major ones that you're going to be using. One of them lets you stash your cash because they do kind of the system that they have in Grand Theft Auto 5, where there's cash you're actually carrying on you and then cash that you have in a bank. When you die, you lose half the cash that you're carrying on you. But you can call this person up and they'll come to you in like 5 seconds and you get to store your cash in the bank. So there's not really a big purpose to it, although I did find myself losing $15,000 at one point, but that was just because of me being stupid. I'm really indifferent to that system being there. Then there's also the vehicle delivery that I told you about, and then the final thing that you'll be using, and this might be what you use most often if not the cars, is the vehicle delivery. And I like this system better than how they did it in Mafia 2. In Mafia 2, there was one set location that you could go and buy guns. In that world of Mafia 2, there was a one gun store. Now, instead of being an actual gun store, it's a van that drives up to you and you can use it from anywhere. And you still get a wide variety of guns. I don't know the exact number of guns in this game or Mafia 2, but it is a wide array of guns. The problem is, throughout the entirety of the game, I found myself using 4. The starting pistol, a shotgun, and then when I finally upgraded after playing through about half the game, I upgraded to a silenced pistol and an M16. That's pretty much it. I used a silenced submachine gun every once in a while, but I only used that up until the point that I got the M16. There's really... You can go through the entire game with the starting pistol and a shotgun. It's not that difficult. The reason why I used the silenced pistol is because it didn't get heat, and silenced weapons in this game are overpowered. Specifically the silenced pistol, you just shoot somebody once in the head and they instantly die, which is a good thing. I like when games do that. But you could shoot someone 5 feet from another person and they won't know it, which kind of goes into a bigger problem. The AI in this game are pretty brain dead, but I'll talk about that here in a minute. Let me continue on the gun truck. So yeah, it's kind of just there. Money is pretty much what you use. This is the only thing that you use the money on, and you're going to be getting a lot. Currently in game, when I'm finished, I have a total of $151,000 on me, and it's pretty much just waiting there until the DLC comes out, if I get the DLC, which I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, money really has no purpose unless you go around buying every single gun, but you don't need to do that because you know which ones you're going to want before you unlock them, so you just save up your money for those. Moving on, let's actually talk about how bad the AI is in this game, because they are literally brain dead. You can go back through and watch some of the videos that I've uploaded on this game, and they are absolutely brain dead. using the silence pistol kind of just breaks them. If they don't see somebody getting shot and they don't find a body afterwards, they will have no idea that it ever happened, even if the gun is literally 5 feet from their head. They just don't know. And they're not smart enough to use tactics such as flanking you. They will always come as like a head-on overwhelming rush. Sometimes they'll use cover. Most of the time they'll run out in the open and then just start shooting at you, and it's pretty bad. The only time that I really saw them do anything good was in the final mission, where they were actually like taking strategic cover and such, but they were still in a pretty bad spot, and they're still really, really stupid, even on the harder difficulties. Halfway through my game, I even had to up the difficulty up to the highest point, and before that, I'd only died twice, and kind of the way that they figured that they would balance out the really stupid AI is that pretty much everybody can die in 3 shots. Now, it's 1 or 2 if you hit them in the head or neck, but pretty much 3 body shots with an assault rifle will kill anybody, including yourself. I would not be surprised if each one of the sections in the health bar, which you can get up to 5, I would not be surprised if each one of those sections was a bullet that you could take, because right now when I have it finished, I am at 4 bars of health, and if I take 4 shots, I am like in the panic mode of having the whole screen go red and everything, and your character like screaming to take cover. So I would not be surprised if you die in 5 bullets. And also, my total death count at the end of the final mission came to a whopping 6. I died 6 times during the entirety of the game. That's doing everything except for some of the side missions, and I have not died doing a single side mission. I only died a total of 6 times in the game. So, even on the hardest difficulty, there's something that needs to be changed, and the AI could have been a little bit better. So let's move on and talk about the actual meat of the game, the main thing that you're going to be doing through the story. Now there is 12 districts that you go throughout the game. You only assign 9 to each of your underbosses. Well, not each, but you only assign 9 to your underbosses because the other 3 are the ones that are given to them when you're just meeting them. The other 9 you can split up however you want between your other underbosses. The most common way to do it is 3, 3, and 3. That way you finish the game with all of your underbosses still with you, and you don't have to go out and kill any of them. Because if you kill some of them, then you lose whatever perks were attached to that person. So if you were to say kill Cassandra, then I hope you didn't use any of the weapons that she gave you, and I hope that you had all the weapons and ammo that you wanted, because, well, the weapon dealer won't talk to you anymore. Same goes for Burke. If you kill Burke, I hope you don't need cars, or a special type of car, because car delivery is no longer available to you, and some pretty good weapons in the game are no longer available to you. Kill Vito, well, I hope you didn't like the silenced weapons, because they almost all come from him, and hope you didn't like putting your money in the bank, or having to drive all the way across town to do it, because that's how you lose that from killing him. But it's pretty easy to divvy out territory to everybody. I just went in the pattern of giving it to Cassandra, then Vito, then Burke, and then giving the next one to Cassandra, then Vito, then Burke, then doing it a 3rd time, and that was able to let me keep all 3 of them, so I got to have most of the upgrades in the game. The downside to doing it like that is you don't get the super high-end upgrades that each of the people can give you, but you get about 90% of them, which is good enough, because none of their final upgrades are really all that amazing to screw out an entire another person. So yeah, pretty much you want to keep all of them. But the way that you get these rackets is I'll go from the top to bottom. So what you do last, and then I'll end with what you do first. So you end off with this big special ending where you take out the boss of whatever district you're dealing with. There's 12 of these missions in the game, one for each district. These are all each individual, like, distinct missions. Like, they include pretty much most of what you've seen in the, like, promotions for it. Like, killing Uncle Lou on the riverboat, that's one of those missions. Killing a guy in a theme park is another one. They're always go somewhere, kill a person, but the way in which you do each of them is pretty, it's pretty different, and they're each really, really fun missions. And so how do you unlock these really great missions? Well, you have to kill the 2 racket bosses in each of the districts, and to get the 2 racket bosses coming out of hiding, you have to talk to 2 informants to give you a whole bunch of side quests that really come down to only being 3 different things. They're either go to a place, kill somebody, go to a place, steal a car, or go to a place and blow something up. There's 2 more that you will kind of see occasionally, but they really all devolve down into those 3 things of either kill somebody, steal a car, or blow something up. And then once you do that, a different amount of time for each of them. You usually have to do 5 of them, 5 or 6 of them for each racket boss to come out. And then every racket boss mission is just go to a place, kill a guy. That is done twice in each of the 12 districts. So 24 times you have to kill racket bosses. And if you have to do those little small missions 5 times for each racket boss, that is 120 of those little small missions that you have to do. And there's only 3 types of them. This gets really repetitive really fast, and after 4 or 5 areas of doing it, you kind of just start to go through it. Like in the beginning, when there was a small mission to go somewhere and kill somebody, I would stealthily go through there and try to stealth up and kill everybody in the place before leaving. Now towards the end, I kind of just went through there as fast as possible, as stealthy as possible, and killed the person and got out of there. And it went from doing each of those in maybe 5 minutes, which takes forever when you add it up, to getting in and out in maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And in total, taking over each area, each of the 12 areas, it takes about an hour to an hour and a half for each area, depending on how difficult and how much each of the 12 final missions are. They start out pretty easy and will only take you like 20 minutes to do the final mission. But towards the end, they will take you longer, anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes to finish that final mission. So it's about 2 hours, an hour and a half to 2 hours to finish up a complete area, and you do that 12 times. And that's pretty much the meat of the game. You just go and do that 12 times, and then on top of that, once you talk to each of the main underbosses, each of your main underbosses, they give you a side quest, and then one of their underbosses, so like kind of like a mini boss of yours, that person will give you a chain of side quests as well. So there's 6 different chains of side quests. The problem is, let me just go through them all because it's not really spoiling anything. Cassandra's, you steal a truck 5 times. Vito's, you kill 5 people. Burke's is kind of the longest and the most involved. His 5 side missions start out with steal 5 cars. Then it's steal 3 different cars, or 3 of a different model of car. Then it's steal 3 of a different model of car. Then it's steal 3 boats, and then it goes back to stealing 3 cars. And each time it's a specific type of car in a specific color, and they'll show up on your map, so you don't have to go searching for it all the time. Then with the with your underbosses, so like I said, the little kind of mini boss, for each of those people, for Cassandra's, it's go to a place and steal a boat, and then deliver it back to a dock owned by one of her rackets, and then drive it to another one of her rackets. So that's Cassandra's mini boss's side quest. Vito's is go to a place, steal a semi, then take it to one of Vito's rackets. And then Burke's is go to a place, steal a truck, and take it to one of his rackets. And you do that between 6 and 10 times for each of them. And there's really no variation, and it feels very, very lazy on the parts of the people who made this game. And one of the worst parts is that halfway through doing Vito's underboss's mission of stealing the semis, they stopped spawning. So I had to turn the game off, turn it back on. It didn't, the vehicle still didn't spawn. It would give me the location for it. It's just the semi and all the enemies around it that were supposed to be there. None of that stuff spawned. And it went like that for 2 days, so just be aware that that happens. That's just one of a slew of problems that this game has bug-wise, which I guess I'll go into now. If you saw my 11-second video that I posted a few days ago, which quite a few of you did, I hit a speed bump where there wasn't a speed bump. It was just a glitch in the road, and I did 2 backflips in a car going like 60. It might have been faster than that. I think I was going like 90, but still, just I hit nothing in the road and just randomly did 2 backflips. And the worst part is that it is repeatable. There is a spot in the road that you can repeatably flip your car just by going fast enough. Another thing that also happens randomly, that's mostly been patched out now, is that when you're going really, really fast, and say you're starting to go down a hill, instead of actually going down the hill, your car will just continue to go flat and just start hovering, and it will keep going at the same elevation that it was when it started going down the hill, and it will just keep going like that. And thankfully that's mostly been patched out. I have not experienced that, but there's still some stuff like that happens. So moving on, kind of wrapping this up because it's going a little bit longer than I thought it would. I've kind of just been crapping on this game for the last 24 minutes, so I kind of want to go into the great things about this game now, and that is the story. This is one of the best stories that I have played this year. It is on levels of A Story About My Uncle, which is probably going to make my top 10 list if it came out this year. I don't remember. But this is one of the best stories that I've played in a AAA game so far this year. It is amazing, and actually the story is so good that I will recommend getting this game at like $40, even though I've just been saying a whole bunch of things that are bad about it for the last 24 minutes. Yes, the story in this game is one of the best that I have seen in a AAA game, and even throughout all the bugs and all the repetitiveness, it is still a fun game. Granted, it's going to be even better if you played Mafia 2, because then you'll get some of the inside things, especially in the final cutscene. A special somebody comes up that isn't named, that you didn't know about at the end of Mafia 2. A special someone shows up, And no, for the people that have seen the ending cutscene, it's not Leo that I'm talking about. But that is worth a little bit on its own, saying an actual conclusion of what happened to the end of Mafia 2 and what happened to that character that we didn't really know what happened to him. And then just seeing Vito again and going through Vito's story, I gotta say, this game, even though I've been crapping on it for a lot, it is fun. You will play it for like 20-30 hours. I currently have, like 32 in it, and I'm getting to the point in the game where there's not really much else to do. The only thing that I have left to do in the game is running around picking up fuses so that I can hack into call boxes so that I can see where all the collectibles are on the map, and more fuses. So I have pretty much nothing else to do, but up until you get to that point, this game's gonna be fun. And I don't recommend that you pick it up for full price. Maybe after some of the free DLC comes out, which I'll talk about the DLC here in a second, but if you've played Mafia 2 and it's 45 and you find Mafia 3 for like 45-50 bucks at your store, then I say that it's worth it at that price. If you haven't played Mafia 2, then maybe $40 to $45. The little extra bits that you'll pick up from playing Mafia 2 do have some like tangible value in this game, so that's why I'm saying it's a little bit more for the people that have played it. But yes, I really recommend picking this up on a sale. Now going into the DLC that I've talked about, there is several DLC planned for this game. So just to go through the DLC that they have already said that they have planned, there's first they're coming out with a bunch of free recurring content, as they call it. This is free DLC packs that are going to spice up the game quite a bit. They include actual character outfits, so you get to you actually get to customize how Lincoln looks throughout the game. There's gold weapon pack, which just gives you 3 new golden weapons. They're also adding in vehicle customization and races. They're adding in races that you can drive in, and then more car customization. So there's 2 packs of vehicle customization, and then there's even more rewards that they're adding in. That's all that they've really said so far, but there's even more going to be coming out. And once all that free stuff comes out, there's definitely no reason not to pick this up. If I could speak properly, not to pick this up for like 50 bucks. Once all that stuff gets added in, it will definitely be worth 50, maybe even the full price of $60. Then moving on, they have 3 pieces that they have already said will be paid DLC. These are apparently the full DLC plans for this. No more actual paid DLC besides these 3 that they've talked about. The 3 packs are Faster Baby, which you'll see Lincoln partner up with a character named Roxy Lavu, which is a new character to the series, and you get to take care of a corrupt sheriff who's been making trouble for civil rights activists in the city that you get to play in this game. Then the next one is called Sign of the Times, which has kind of a more horror tone without really being horror. In that you team up with Father James to investigate some ritualistic killings, and then the final DLC is Stones Unturned, which where Lincoln joins up with Donovan again to settle a blood feud that was born in Vietnam that involves one of your people or several of your people from Vietnam. Now, we don't really have too much information on each of those, each of the DLCs, but we do know that altogether, if you don't buy the season pass, they will come to be almost $40. The $39.97 to be exact, but pretty much $40. If you get the season pass, it's only $30. So we'll have to see how much content's actually in those. But if they're anything like the story DLCs that if I could speak properly. If they're anything like the story DLCs that Mafia 2 had, then they will definitely be worth $30. So, yeah, like I said, if it's on sale for $40 or $45, somewhere in the range of $45, it's worth it. Once this free recurring content comes out, maybe after a month or two, or maybe 3 months after this game comes out, then it will definitely be worth it at $50, if not full price. And then depending on how much content is in the paid DLCs, it might be worth it to pick up the season pass to save $10 on all the DLCs. So, yeah, that's going to be it for this review of Mafia 3. Remember, I'm Redden from Blue Gaming, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.